Much better. Much
Yes.
better.
I don't know what happened, but we're back, folks. Thank
All
you for
right,
your
cool.
patience.
Thank you. Sorry about that, everybody.
Sorry about that, folks.
No, it's all good. It's all good. So tell us about the transition from competing into now you're the guy behind the scenes, getting everybody organized backstage as the Expeditor to mostly all the NPC shows in the Northeast, and now congratulations as being a promoter to the NPC Rhode Island this past weekend. How did that go?
It went really good. I mean, for our first show, I was, you know, it was just amazing. I didn't expect it to be that good. It was just, I had a great expediting team. Without my guys, without the people that were involved with me, with them, it was just a huge success. We got a very tight expediting crew, and they just ran it great. They ran it great for me, and the ticket sales were great. The venue was great. The athletes were great. I was just very blessed that day. And like I said to your buddy there, I give all the glory to God. It was just an amazing day, man. Amazing day.
And Dwayne McDaniel was your expediter?
He was my head judge. I love Dwayne.
Okay.
We go back a long way, me and Dwayne. He ran all the judges for me. Lauren Hathaway, Amy Pugliese, they're both very IFBB pros. They did ticket sales. And, my biggest supporter, obviously, is my wife. She's been with me through this whole craziness since I started it. And she's still, behind me 100%. I don't know what I'd do without her. She's there for me all the time. She's great people. And she was a decent bodybuilder in her day. Not bad. She just couldn't diet that good. That's all. That's all. She's laughing in the background here, Vinny. Yes.
So, Vinny, you mentioned obviously you knowing of Guy, but talk about how you guys first met. When was your first interaction?
Wait, first of all, I want to say one thing before you ask me any questions. So it was, I think, the 88 or 89 Suburban. Vinny was the novice overall winner.
89.
And I was sitting in the audience, and I was talking to somebody, and his parents overheard me. I remember this like it was yesterday. And his parents overheard me, and his mother turned to me and said, "That's my son." And I said, "Well, I'm going to tell you something, miss." I said, "Your son is going to be a star one day because he looks incredible up on that stage." Now, I had just placed very well, so I was ecstatic myself, but I got to say, the kid stole the show. I mean, his physique for the first time getting on stage was like, holy cow, where'd this guy come from? So
thank you.
That's my Vinny Galante story. That's where I met Vinny Galante. I mean, I even said to my buddies, this guy, you're going to hear a lot about him in the future. And sure enough, obviously you see his history of bodybuilding. So yeah, I remember that was my meeting of Vinny Galante. Yeah.
I kind of remember talking, I remember talking to you and my mother saying, "Oh, I just spoke to him." But then after that, it was just after shows and stuff. And I know Billy Scarnati has stories about you, how he met you. And
I know Billy 40 some years, bro.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But Billy. Most important, like one of the things I want to touch on is your faith in God and how God has basically, turned you around and gave you a new path, right? And you and I have had a few talks a couple of years ago, and
we exchange prayer. We exchange prayers every day.
Yeah. And that's something that people should know. That I don't think that neither one of us could have had a second chance or a comeback, if you will. You had your comeback on a different level. I've had my comeback on the stage, and neither one of us, I don't think we would have had that if we didn't find the road we're on today with God.
Well, about 8 years ago is probably when I really, really gave my life to God with my heart attack and the cancer and, everything I went through. And I realized at that point in my life that, there's no room in competitive bodybuilding for me. So I had to you know yourself. I love this sport. I love this business more than anybody, and I couldn't just not do it anymore. So, I got involved in my first job with Steve Weinberger was to watch the bathroom door at Tribeca. That's a true story.
Okay.
It cost me more money to park my car than I got paid. That's a true story. But you know what? I kept doing it because I was around the game. I was able to see my friends and, all of that. And then before you know it, things started happening for me. I started judging. He wanted me to start judging. I took my judge's test. I did well. And then one night he said to me, he goes, listen, I'm short an expediter. Do you mind filling in for me? I said, no, Steve, I'll do anything for you. So I forget what show it was. It was a pretty big show, though. And, at the end of the night, he comes over to me and he says, all right, listen, I won't ask you to do that no more. I was just in a pinch. I needed somebody. I said, no, man, I loved it. He looked at me and goes, what do you mean you loved it? I go, yeah, I like it better than judging. So I started my expediting career, and the head expediter messed up one night. Steve, you don't get too many chances with Steve. So he told him to take a walk. That was the end of him. And he turns to me and he goes, you think you can run things? I said, well, I really think I don't have no choice, right? You want me to do this? And that's how I became his head expediter. And ever since then, which was, I don't know, I guess I started in 2009, maybe before that with him. And ever since now, it's just snowballed for me, in a good way, cool. where I think that everything that's been happening is all by the grace of God. I mean, once I gave him and surrendered, and listen, Vinny, I made a deal with him on the way down for my open heart surgery, because even my wife said, "Aren't you nervous?" No, I'm not nervous, but I made a deal. If he kept me alive, that I would serve him and honor him through the platform that I know the best, and that's bodybuilding. And you know yourself, every day there's something goes up with Coffee with Coach, or somebody's in need of a little spiritualness or whatever. I guess that's my calling. He's still letting me use my bodybuilding platform for it, and I couldn't be more grateful.
And I know how much that means to you. That's why I wanted to bring it up here.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I think that's the reason why I'm healthy again. And I hook up with Mel Chancey. Mel, he's all into Jesus also, and we spread the word, bro. We spread the word. Like what I'm doing right now. It's a great. I appreciate this opportunity more than you guys know. I really do.
Well, we thank you.
No,
so, Guy, for somebody that's just listening and isn't feeling exactly what an expediter does, like what are the duties of an expediter?
Well, we'll start from the beginning. You come in, you're going to check in, you go to the registration table, you get your registration form, you come over by me or whoever's there, and we height you or we weigh you, and you got to make obviously the measurements in the weight for your class. And then you move over, we give you your number. If we have any goodies for you, that's the first part of it. And then when we go backstage, after the meeting, we have a meeting, and then after the meeting, we pretty much tell you what's going to happen here. Okay, all guys are going to line up and this and that, and we're going to put you in the right class. We're going to have you lined up numerically the way you're supposed to, and basically to the athlete, because they're coming in and most of them are either carb depleted or they have no idea what's going on. So we're like their eyes, their ears, they're pretty much, that's basically what a good expediter is there for the athlete. This is all, listen, this is all about the athlete. That's their day. That's their time. So me and my crew, I make sure my crew knows that this is all about the athlete. I don't care about you guys. We got to make it right for them. And that's basically what an expediter should be doing. It should be about the athlete. Yeah.
Okay.
And
do you feel a lot of expediters miss that piece? Because it sounded like maybe a lot of people miss that piece.
Absolutely.
Well, I think a lot of expediters are expediting, and they're honoring themselves rather than the athletes.
Yeah.
Look at me, take my picture here. Look, hurry up, give me a selfie. Yeah, it's true, and I see it. I see it. I also, Vinny will tell you, I also work the big national shows, the Olympia, all of these. So, that's a whole different animal, the professional bodybuilder.
Mm-hmm.
They're a little bit more, experienced. They're a little easier. But when you get people that are coming that never competed before, they're green. They don't know. They're scared. So my job is to make them feel comfortable, make them realize that this is going to be the greatest day of your life. I want you to absorb that, soak it all up, enjoy every single minute of it, because all that work you did for months is going to be gone in a snap of a finger.
Yep.
That's basically what I think an expediter should be about, making that athlete's day the best it can be. Yeah.
I've had on more than a dozen occasions being backstage at the Universe, the Mets, and I've watched Guy and his team, and it's a fine oiled machine. It's just well run.
Thank you.
Who's getting people lined up? Who's telling who's on deck? You got 20 minutes to pump up, and it's well run backstage. I've been at like one or two pro shows, confused, not knowing what's going on.
Yeah.
So they do a great job. They do a great job.
I mean, it's it's you were at the Master Nationals and you've seen that, and you've been at shows where there's 1,000 competitors.
Oh,
and in order to do and expedite that, you got to be in sync, or else, man, one slip up will mess the whole show up. So. And listen, I take it very serious that I represent Steve Weinberger. So, to me, I got the opportunity to do that. I'm going to do it to the best of my ability, and so is my team, and they know that because we have a team meeting before every time we work. So it's I got to be honest with you. I think I like this part of the whole bodybuilding thing rather than competing. I like it all. Yeah, I really do. I mean,
Guy, when you started this back when you did, have the athletes been just as easily manageable, harder, the same throughout the years?
Well, you know what? I got to be honest with you. You're the athlete. If you treat the athlete nicely, calmly, usually they're going to cooperate. But if you're going to try to bulldoze them back there and you're going to try to yell at them and give them orders, it's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you're going to get a couple of jerks now and then. What are you going to do? You can't help that. I mean, out of 1,000 people, you're going to get one or two that's not going to cooperate.
Yeah.
And I've had that already. But if you can go into it where, listen, I'm here to help you. That's my job. I'm here to help you.
Yep.
And then they're like, oh, okay, this guy's serious. He's really here for me. It really keeps things on a even keel. It really does. I guess from doing it so often and so long, it comes like second nature to me.
Yeah.
I've gotten rid of guys yelling at athletes. I had to tell them to go home. Yep. And don't come back. I don't need that. I need you to treat these people like human beings, not like animals. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's go. Go ahead, Sean.
A good friend Bill here is commenting. He said, ask Guy about his first gym that he owned, especially when no one had a gym. Everybody loves going to Guy's gym.
All right. So, guys, my first Guy's gym was on the second floor on 561 McBride Ave. We had no air conditioner.
Love it.
We had every primitive piece of equipment you could imagine. I was just commenting today, I didn't even have a Smith machine. Our cardio equipment was 17 stairs in the back up to the gym. We ran the stairs. That's what we did. And then I was competing at the time when we had that gym. And then what I would do was I would throw a bar in my car, ride down to Pennington Park, which was like 5 minutes from the gym, put the bar on my back and lunge around the track for cardio. That's what I would do. Oh yeah. It was, but I was the only gym around. And I'm going to tell you the truth. I had no clue what I was doing. All I did was I put a bunch of equipment into this building, and I said, okay, I'm going to charge everybody $25. And that's what I did. That's what I
Okay.
did. And God rest his soul, Bob Bonham, he found out I had a gym at the time. He didn't have his gym yet, and he wanted to see what it was like. And he called me on the phone. He asked me, could I come down and see your gym? I'm thinking about opening up a gym. I said, sure, you can come down. Why not? And that's where I met Bob. And then obviously, you know, the history of Strong and Shapely and all that stuff. But that was my first gym. Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. I had
Did you have different locations?
Well, we went from, I left. I started on Union Avenue. From Union Avenue in Patterson, I went to McBride Avenue in West Patterson, and every time getting a little bit bigger, you know. And then I opened up in another one in West Patterson. I left the gym business, went into personal training for, believe it or not, Jackal Lane, and was in that for a while. And I came back in Hawthorne. I opened up a gym in Hawthorne, and then I opened up a bigger one in Hawthorne, and that's where I kind of like stayed. And then finally, you know, couldn't compete with the Retros and the LA Fitnesses. I couldn't compete with them. Mine was a mom and pop, and so I left that business and I came here. And you know, in between heart attacks and all that other stuff that was going on, when that was over, you know, I said to my wife, I'm going to open a gym in the garage. And she says, did you look at that garage? It's 20 by 10. I go, yeah, I know how big it is. She said, what are you going to put in there? And she felt sorry for me, my wife. She said, I don't think we're going to have any clients. Well, I tell you, like I said to you before, I must do between 45 and 50 workouts a week in that little garage. So
fantastic.
Yeah, I've been very blessed. God has been very good to me. Very good. So
was it called Guy's Gym? Was it actually called Guy's Gym?
Well, it was Guy's Gym, but
okay.
now I call this place the Little Gym because it's little. That's why I call it the Little Gym. Yeah, yeah.
So let me ask you, Guy, because you come back way before I did with the training and on primitive equipment, as you say, right? So do you scratch your head like I do today when people come up to you with new ways of training and like they try to create a chemistry set sometimes, I think, with training. And maybe that's not the right way to describe it, but like I find a lot of the stuff useless. And I'm not sure if it is good or not, because I feel like they're reinventing the wheel.
Well, listen, I watch your videos all the time. Are you training? And I very seldom seeing you doing something that is on a new kind of machine. You're always you're always using old school. And I think, to me, the machines in the gym are great. I think they're great for a marketing tool because obviously the fitness industry now is one of the biggest industries in the world. Everybody wants to work out, but nobody wants to work out the way we worked out, Vinny. Very few. Even top pros, I look at them, they do light weights. They do not like we train, bro. Bro, you had torn shoulder, torn this, torn that. How did that happen? That happened because you used weight that was ridiculous. They won't even touch weights like that no more. I tore my bicep. I tore my pec. I snapped my knee. Why? Trying to lift heavy. That's what we did. We lifted heavy. You know. Now, I don't know what kind of training they call this.
But when you have athletes come into your little gym, do you try to keep them on the straight and narrow of like what really builds foundation?
They have no choice, bro. I got a Smith machine here. I got a hack squat turned into a leg press. I got a pull-up bar, dip bars, leg extension, leg curls, arm curl machine, and a tricep dip machine. That's it. There's nothing else in my gym.
And it gets the job done. So
they're coming in there. This is what they're doing, and they all comment the same. This is the best workout I ever had. Well, you know, this is old school. Old school is what works.
Yep.
I will stand by that to the day I die. Old school works. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. That's what I believe in. And listen, the gym you work out with, Eric, is a gym that is phenomenal. Phenomenal. if I went in that gym, I wouldn't even know how to use some of those machines. I wouldn't even know.
Yeah.
Be honest with you, I wouldn't even know, man.
Most of the people in there don't know how to use it.
Yeah, give me a bar, give me some weights and a couple of push downs. I'm ready to go. You know.
So
It's
one
great.
thing that I see quite often is I always say, like, I see people kneeling down on one knee to do a one-arm cable row. And I say, how does your muscle know if you're standing or if you're kneeling? Why are you kneeling down? And
Right.
well, I saw it on social media. I'm like, no, we just stand up. Doesn't matter. Oh, I have to kneel down. I'm like, you don't have to stand. You don't have to kneel down.
That's because maybe they seen it in a magazine. Somebody was doing it. I don't know.
Nah, it's more on Instagram mostly.
Yeah, well, I don't know. To me, I would grab a dumbbell and do a one-arm dumbbell row. I think that would be sufficient.
There you go.
Rather than a cable row. But that's me. That's what
Yeah.
I would do.
Yeah.
Take my wrap it around an 80-pound dumbbell and do some one-arm dumbbell rows. But I don't know. I guess that's too hard. It's easier to put the pin in and pull with a handle. I guess it's easier. I don't know. I just don't. I guess I'm just old fashioned. You know. Hey, listen. I'm old. I'm a lot older than you, Vince. So I'm getting to a point where when I look at some of this stuff, I can't believe some of the machines that are designed, and it just amazes me. Still amazes me. And listen, I am amazed, like I said, but it's a good thing. It's a good thing to watch where I started to where it is now. It's not a bad thing. I don't train my people like that. I train them old school. That's what I do. Yeah.
Yeah. So Bill's also saying here too that you're giving grace at his wedding.
Bill called me the other day and he said, I want to ask you if you would give grace at the wedding. I said, I'd be honored. I'd be more honored, be beyond honored. Yeah, it's really not. Listen, I met Billy at William Patterson College. I heard the podcast the other night, and every single thing he said was right on. I mean, I met him up there. He came up to me. I guess I was 240 pounds at the time. And I was doing a lot of heavy lifting. And I guess he was just getting into the whole lifting thing. And we connected, man. We connected. I know Billy a long time, 40 years. I knew his father before I knew him. His father used to own a tavern in Patterson called Billy Who. That's how I knew his father. You know, I would stop in there periodically, have a drink or two. And yeah, but I knew his father way before him, and then we just got to be very friendly. And his first show, I was there with him and Paul Day, I think was his friend, was the Mr. Patterson. He won that show, and then obviously his bodybuilding career catapulted after that. Billy was one of the true pioneers. He calls me the pioneer, but he's been around a long time in the competing game. Yeah. He had great calves, by the way. Billy had great calves.
Monstrous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great Billy calves. And I had the opportunity with our other buddy, Vinny Q. Yeah. We trained all year during the pandemic. We found places that would let us in and work out. Yeah. And, I've known Billy also a long time.
Yeah, I know you do. I know you do. But Billy had a very aesthetic body in his day. He was very aesthetic. He had a beautiful body. Yeah.
Yeah, we're fortunate. Like even Tommy Potenza, we all became friends through competing. And
yeah, but you were the pretty one, Vince. You were all over the magazines, bro. They had you all over the magazines. You were the good one to look at. We were just good bodybuilders, but you were the one to look at.
I'm not on any
Every
magazines
time
today.
I opened up a magazine, Galante was in the magazine. No matter what. Either it was on the cover, he was either advertising something, he just won a show. There's Vinny Galante. There was Vinny Galante. Yeah.
I did my homework. To get in those
did
magazines.
Well, bro. You're still doing well, bro.
Trying.
You're still doing well. I think you're going to do very good at the Master Olympia, bro.
I'm nervous, guy. I'm nervous.
Well, you're not. You're supposed to be. That's a normal thing, bro.
I see some of the names and I'm like, okay, right now they have it listed in the order by the first name, alphabetical order, and I'm thinking, okay, I could fit in this group. But if they do it with the last name in alphabetical order, I'm gonna stand next to guys who are like 270. I'm gonna be like this little guy next to
I
these
don't know,
monsters.
bro. I think you're going to hold your own very well, bro. Very well.
Thank
And I'm
you.
not,
Yeah,
listen,
yeah.
I'm not telling you that because we're on a podcast. That's the truth. You know, you, if anybody knew what you looked like after your surgery
No.
to what you look like now, amazing, bro. Amazing.
I remember when I saw my nephew Stefan for the first time. He came home from college. I hadn't seen him, so I had the surgery in January 1st, New Year's Eve actually, and I hadn't seen him until like it was May, and I had lost. I went down to like from 215 down to 180.
Oh yeah, I remember
And
seeing it. Yeah,
he literally thought something like I was sick. Like
yeah,
did I have cancer or something?
yeah.
And he was in shock when he saw me. Yeah, a lot of people were like, what happened to you?
Hey, but now look at you. Look
Trying.
at you. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Trying.
God bless you. God bless you, bro.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Guy, when you competed back many years ago, was supplements a staple like it is now? I know supplements are very prevalent now, but were you using protein powders, any of that kind of stuff, or again, were you just straight food type person?
The first protein powder I took was a milk and egg blend, and I don't know if you ever heard of the name, but it was a guy named Rio H. Blair. He made a protein.
Blair protein.
I'm going to tell you a little something about this. So he made this protein, and he kind of designed it for Arnold, but then it went over so big you could get it. Obviously you couldn't get it like you could now, but you could mail for it, or sometimes I got lucky. The guy around the corner that had the health food store by me, he would order it for me. So that was it. I took that. Bob Hoffman had a lot of products out at the time. I was taking gain weight tablets by Bob Hoffman. I was taking vitamins, multivitamins. Yeah, I was doing a lot of those, right? But I'm going to fast forward now. So one day, Vinny, you know Louis Perillo, right?
Yep.
Okay. So one day, Louis calls me on the phone. Louis, by the way, was one of the dinosaurs. He won the tall class at the America, at the Universe. Never got his pro card, but he trained at Gold's Gym, right with Arnold, right with all of them. I mean, he got in his car, 1969 Volkswagen, drove it out there, lived in it, ate in it, anything he could do. He trained with Pearl. He trained with Geronda. He trained with all of them, right? So he calls me, I don't know, maybe it was in the 80s. He said, bro, you got to go try this protein called Metrix. I said, okay, MetRx. Okay. Yep. So I go get it, and I'm tasting. I'm trying to taste. I don't know, man. That thing, it tastes very familiar to me. I couldn't pinpoint it. All of a sudden, I said, that tastes just like Rio H. Blair's protein. And then I call him on the phone. I said, Louis, doesn't that taste like Rio? He says, exactly. That's why I wanted you to go buy it. He said, that's probably the same shit, he said. And I was like, you're probably right. You're probably right. He probably copied it from him, And that's, I took, everything was different then. The supplements were different than they are. I mean, you got this pre-workout stuff. We didn't have any of that stuff. We took a cup of coffee.
Yep.
I'm going to tell you a story. I met Freddie Ortiz. Remember
Freddie
him?
Ortiz.
One best arms in the game, right?
Wow.
I guess it was in the late 60s, maybe. I met him at the Pump and Iron movie. He was there. Okay. I went to the opening of Pump and Iron, and I met all these guys there. I start talking to Freddie Ortiz, and he said, you know what I do before I work out? He says, I got a ritual. I said, what's that? He says, I smoke one cigarette, I take a shot of bourbon, and I have a half a can of SpaghettiOs. And I looked at him. I go, you're serious? And he was serious. This guy was serious. This is the story he's telling me. That was his pre-workout. It wasn't, C4. It wasn't any of these things. That was his thing.
Smoke a cigarette
before every workout. Yeah, Freddie
He's got
Ortiz.
the nicotine for the stimulant, and he's got the carbs from the SpaghettiOs.
He had everything going here, bro. He had everything going here.
Wow, that's great. That's a great story.
Yeah, I got to talk to all of those guys. That was like the highlight of my bodybuilding career, meeting all those guys there. Yeah. Yeah, that was
Awesome.
great. That was great. Yeah. But yeah, even now I take some vitamins, but I take more vitamins to keep my antioxidants up and keep my immunity up with the cancer and all that. But I never really was that big on supplements, Even the other supplements, they were back then, they weren't like they are now. Even those supplements were different. Everything was different then.
Yeah.
Well, you came from an era that you knew that hard training and strict nutrition got you in shape.
That's it,
And
Bob.
everything else was second and third.
Icing on the cake.
And today it's kind of like a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is sad a little bit.
I think it's the opposite now.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to be nice.
They do all of that first, and then they train and eat last.
Yeah.
Training is not a priority like it was in our day.
Well, that's all we had.
That's it. Training was a priority. I mean, I remember going on vacation, bringing weights in my car with me. I drove all the way down. I drove all the way. I drove all the way to Florida in a van, and I took all my weights, a bench, everything with me, and put it in my hotel room, and I worked out in my hotel room. That's when I was competing at the time. Yeah.
Nice.
Because I didn't want to go to a gym. I didn't want to be bothered with that. So now on the way home, to get the weights into my car, we were on the second floor. I wasn't going to carry them downstairs. I was throwing them out the window onto the grass down below. That's how I got, and I loaded them on the truck and went home. Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Guy, what do you think about the athletes nowadays, though? I mean, looking at from what you started with to where they are now, where people are stepping on stage at 290, 300 pounds.
Well, I happen to be partial to the classic physique look.
Okay.
I think some of these guys have gotten a little out of control with some of the things they're doing. And, the bodybuilders, to me, listen, again, not because he's on the podcast, but aesthetic-wise, he was one of the best. Still is.
Thank you.
Aesthetic symmetry, to me, bodybuilding is like an art. It's like being at the statue, not overly grotesque, not.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't fathom that look. I don't see that look like a Zane. That type of physique is what I consider a bodybuilder. Don't get me wrong. I will say the new era that could fit into the old era was Phil Heath. I think Phil Heath's body was that perfect. It was bigger, but it wasn't overly grotesque looking. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I think, to me, that's the kind of physique that I like. That symmetrical aesthetic look. Yeah.
Yeah, with saying that, and you look in the magazines, you look in the books, and you see the size of Arnold, the size of even Frank Zane. Do you think? Because I don't know, I don't know the answer to this really. But do you think that they ate less food back then because they weren't in the mindset of bulking up like it is today? Well, not bulking. I don't want to use the word bulking.
I don't think they ate like the bodybuilder eats today. No.
But in your off season, what did you do? Like
my off season, when I competed, I was a light heavyweight. I competed always as a light heavyweight. No matter how I tried to be a heavyweight, it just didn't happen. I couldn't eat that much. I just couldn't eat that much. So my body, basically, after, if you want to call it the off season, I never considered it off season as a bodybuilder, because I always believed as a competitive bodybuilder it was 24/7, 365. That's my philosophy. I went maybe from 198 to 205 to 208 tops. I never went above that.
And how tall are you?
I was 5'8.5" then. Yeah. I'm probably shorter now because I'm older. So I probably shrunk a little bit. But yeah, I was 5'8.5", and I tried to always stay in really, really good shape year round because I didn't want to suffer when I wanted to compete. And it was a lot easier for me to get ready for a show because I was in that range of 8 to 10 pounds, and it worked for me. So,
And was that the norm back then?
pretty much everybody kind of did the same thing. Well, like you just said about Arnold. Arnold was pretty much in shape all the time. Zane, he was always in shape. He never was out of shape. But that's what they did. That's what they did as bodybuilders because they believed that bodybuilding was 24/7, 365. They didn't believe in going up 30 pounds and then coming back down to their stage weight. They didn't believe in that. Now,
Do you believe in a moderate carb diet, a low carb diet when getting in shape for a show?
I believe listen, I'll tell you what I use a lot with my clients. I like to cycle, carb cycle. Yeah, I like to do like a 4-day low, 1-day high. And then as we get closer, maybe I'll take some carbs out, for a couple days, put carbs back in, depending. Like the last 2 weeks that I coach somebody, they know that they have to send me pictures every single day, at least 2 times to 3 times a day. That's the way I want things. Because as a bodybuilder, as a coach, that body can change in hours.
Yep.
If you have them where you need them to be, you can change that body in hours, And it kind of does help to have Steve Weinberger as an extra eye. Not gonna lie.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, kind of helps.
So, Guy, you seem like a very straight shooter, and I don't know if that's you or the New Jersey mentality. Because I get that. Have you ever told a client, "Look, you're not ready. Don't do the show," and they kind of say, "Well, look, forget you. I'm doing it anyway."
Yeah, I've done that. Yeah, I've done that. Yeah, I've done it, and usually I'll tell you they agree with me. Okay, coach, then we'll wait. Sometimes you get a knucklehead that what is going to do it no matter what. I've had one or two of them, and they fall flat on their face on the stage, and then they'll come up to me and say, "You were right. You're right, coach." I said, "But see, it's not about me being right. It's about what's right."
Yeah.
You see, going in the show was not right for you. It's not right. I don't want to be right. I don't want to say, "See, I told you so." It's not right for you. So you went up on the stage and you took third place and you're happy, but there was only 3 guys in your class. So what are you happy about? You came in last place. So it's the truth, though,
It's
man.
true.
And
It's true.
I've had people like that many times. So
But I think it's your delivery on how you say it that makes people believe in what you're saying. Because you have ever since I've known you, and especially now that I know you again in this stage of our careers, you're always, and I mean this sincerely, you're a calming, your demeanor and everything, the way you speak is calming, and it's believable in the sense of what you say. I'm going to take his advice. It's the correct advice.
listen, there's people like this guy Pete that we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
There's people that come to me that when he walked in the garage, this kid's a winner, Vinny. You know it as well as I know it, And then there's people that'll come and I'll say, "Well, listen, I think we can get you into great shape. Can't tell you we're going to win, but I will bring you the best you can be. Whatever that may be, whatever place you come in, but I guarantee you'll be the best you can be." And everybody has to, and I tell everybody this, you have to keep everything in perspective. Don't expect to be Mr. Olympia. Don't expect, I got to get my pro card, because that's not going to happen with everybody.
Mhm.
Go and enjoy this. This is something enjoyable to do. It's you got a gift from God. There's so many people that can't even get out of bed to go to the gym to work out. And here you are enjoying the process of being a bodybuilder. It's one of the greatest things in the world, but not everybody can be number one.
Yeah.
Listen,
No.
I'm going to be honest with you. My cliche for me, I was number one at being number two. How's that sound? You know, I got more second places than I ever got first places. But I was okay with that because no matter what place I came in, I enjoyed the whole process.
Mm-hmm.
I call me crazy, but I even enjoyed running up and down them stairs every day. You know, for my cardio. It just was. I love the game. I love the sport. I love everything about it. I love the fact that I'm going to watch my friend of so many years going to Masters Olympia. I love all of that. I'm
Thank
one
you.
of those guys that I'm on the sideline. I'm rooting for you, Vinny. I'm rooting
Yeah, we
for you,
all are.
bro.
Thank you.
I'm rooting for you. You know, I'm one of those guys that I'm not the guy that say, "Oh, I wish that was me. Look at me. I got a bad break." No, man. Obviously, God had other plans for me. It wasn't being a bodybuilder no more. It was maybe helping people become bodybuilders. That was the plan. And I'm okay with that. If
Yeah.
I didn't do that, I wouldn't be on this podcast right now, which I'm grateful, by the way.
Well, we'd love to have you.
Right. I mean, I'm grateful for being here. I'm grateful that maybe somebody hears this and goes, you know what? Maybe I got to start thinking different because no, I'm not going to be Mr. Olympia, but I could enjoy this. I could really enjoy this sport.
I get it all the time. People, I'll have clients go, I want to be, and they use this, and I really hate it. They'll go, I want to be as great as you. I said, listen, I'm not great. I said, in my era, I wanted to be like Lee Labrada and Sean Ray. I never got there. So I was a good bodybuilder. Everybody had to each their own, and I try to say to people,
Vinny, listen. Not for nothing, and I the shows that you won. Now they give pro cards. You won the USA. You should have been a pro there. Not wait till you were 41 years old to get your pro card. You should have been a pro when you won your class at the USA. You should have had your pro card like they do now.
Yeah.
All you got to
it was a
do
long
is hit
time
it.
ago.
Right or wrong. So you unfortunately were an era when the shit was tough. It was hard.
But I also am realistic, though, Guy, where I try to tell this to clients and people who compete. If I bring my best, it doesn't mean I'm going to win. And I have to tell that to people. Just because you bring your best or you were better than last time,
right?
So it doesn't mean anything. It was just somebody else better that showed up.
Right.
So.
But you won because you were better than last time. That's what I tell my client. You were better than last time, so you won. Even though
in that sense, yes.
Like that. I don't know if you remember the movie Raging Bull. Remember he says to his brother, even if you lose, you still win. And it's the truth. Even if you lose, if you're better than the last time, you still won. You're better than you were.
Yeah.
And that's the key to the whole bodybuilding game, I think. Being always improving on what you were. Yeah.
And I believe in that 100%.
Yeah, I do too. I certainly do, man.
But I'm just talking about people who look at the actual trophy and what it says on the trophy.
Well,
that's my point.
Yeah. There's a lot of people out there that don't get it. They need to hear the truth. And a lot of these coaches don't tell them the truth, and they should. They should tell them the truth. They're paying these coaches a lot of money. The coach should be honest and truthful. The coach should be more hands-on. The coach should be more visible rather than just sending them an email every day or whatever. I don't understand that, but maybe I'm just a little too old-fashioned. I get clients. They'll Instagram me, and they live 2 hours, 3 hours from me, and I tell them, I said, I like to see you once a week. To drive here 3 hours, that's no good. Can't you find a coach that's close to you? I mean, I turn business away because I can't do right by the client by just sending me pictures. I can't do that. That's not what I do. You got to come. If you're an hour or less from me, you can drive here so I can see you at least once a week. But if you're further than that, then you got to find somebody that's closer to you. That's how I feel. Now, that's not right or wrong, but to me, that's right. You know what I mean? Yeah. To me, it's fair. It's fair. That's me.
Guy, what's your philosophy? Or do you have a philosophy with your athletes on a certain amount of shows maybe they should do before they go to the nationals or the USAs? Because Vinny and I talk about this all the time, that years ago people might do 4, 5, 6, 8 shows before they go to the big stage, and now people are doing 2 shows and saying, I'm going right to the nationals.
Well, I have to say, I think it depends on the size of the show, the quality of the show, the caliber of the athletes that my athlete beat. Like, let's say for the first time you go in the Atlantic States, Steve's show, right? You go in the Atlantic States and you got 15, 16 guys in your class and you come in first place. And you get real close to the overall, maybe you lose by a point. I think that person there has got a shot to go on to a national show.
Okay.
And I don't think they have to do many more shows than that. You know, I think a lot of these athletes waste time with local shows. That's what I see. That's what I look at. And Vinny will tell you, you need to be a special person to be in a national show. Like, there ain't that many out there anymore that I can say can go in there and do some damage. You know, I'll pick out a guy, you know, obviously I see them closer than the judges, and I'll say, now that kid could be doing something. Or, man, that show was shit. There was nobody in that show. You know what I mean? It was, and you get them shows, you know. We had a couple of people in the Rhode Island show that could be legit at a national show. I don't know if they would win, but they can do some damage. They can make some noise. A couple, but you're talking 2 out of 100 competitors. I mean,
yeah,
not a lot, you know. But these people. Well, I placed first. I placed second, so that qualifies me for the nationals. Well, if you were my client, I wouldn't let you go in the nationals. Not placing second. You place second in this show. What are you going to do when you go against 1,000 people? Right?
Yeah.
Oh, they all say, I want the experience.
Okay. And then when they come in last place, they cry. Oh, I said, the judge, he didn't know what he's looking at. Didn't give me a fair look. Yeah, they give me a fair look. They know what they're looking at.
Yeah, all
The judges,
politics. Like,
they
it's
know
not
what
politics. It's your physique.
Yeah, that's what they say. Oh, it's politics. Yeah. You know, that one trains with so-and-so. That's why he picked them. But it's not the truth. It's not the truth. You know, you know, if you're a quality physique, then it doesn't really matter how many shows you do. If you got a physique that I know could do very well at the national level, we'll pick a show that I know at a national level you can compete at. You know, there's levels at those national shows too.
Good.
Yeah. Universe, let me tell you something. That's no joke, competing at the Universe.
Yeah.
There's some big classes in the Universe. Now you go to the Junior USA, the Junior Nationals, you know, you got maybe a little bit better shot at that as a competitor.
That was my first.
There you go.
Junior USA.
You won that, didn't you?
Yes, 92.
Yeah. You won your class.
Yep. I won, 92. And then
you would have had your pro card again. You won your
they
class.
give a pro card in the Junior USA now?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think they give no, I'm sorry. I think they give first and second in the overall at the Junior USA.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Okay. So you almost won that overall, if I recall, back then. Right?
I don't remember who the overall winner was. I don't think I had a shot for the overall.
No.
I
know one of them you did. Maybe that was the USA, but one of them I remember you were very close.
In the USA, I remember like it was yesterday. They had us do the compulsories for the overall, and then they asked Chris Cormier and myself center stage, and I had no idea what was going on. I'm like, I didn't even know, you know. And they made us do the rounds again, get back in line, and Chris won. Yeah. And people were like, they compared you to Chris Cormier. I'm like, was that good? And I'm like, what, was it good? Yeah, so long ago. I mean,
but that was bodybuilding. That's the way it was back then. That's good stuff back then.
Yeah, it was exciting.
Yeah.
Guys, we wind down. How does one become a judge? If you could take us, make for a minute or two. How does one become a judge?
Well, now you have to take a test. You got to take 3 tests, 3 judging tests. And then what they do is they'll compare your marks every contest to the other judges on the panel, and if they're compatible, then they'll tell you, okay, we give you another test, and then the third test. Now, if they're all good, then you become a judge. Then Steve okays it, and you become a judge in the Northeast. It's really not that hard. You got to be in that. You got to be in that like area, like okay, if 1, 2, 3, and 4, and maybe you pick 2, 3, 1, or as long as you're in the ballpark with the numbers, then you'll get your judging card. Yeah, it's not really that hard.
Okay.
Not really.
And you have 2 Instagrams, so where can people find you?
I have Guy Del Corso NPC on that one, and then I give a morning inspirational on Coffee with Coach.
But for anybody who's looking to hire you,
usually every day I put that up with a something biblical and inspiring or whatever. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yep. So last question for you folks. Somebody's asking, when are you guys getting together for the Vince Galante Classic?
He's got. Well, listen. Whenever he's ready. How's that? Whenever he's ready.
Oh man, I have to ask Big Steve for that one.
Yeah. We'll have to see when he does well in that Masters Olympia. I think that's when we'll all sit down and talk about that. Yeah. And by the way, it was really nice to spend that seminar with you this year, Vinny, over at Big Steve's. Yeah.
Yeah. I was sitting there, and he looked at me, pulled me in. I'm like, me? You pointing at me?
Yeah. It was long time due for you, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like that. I would love to be a part of it more.
It's good. It's good for you because that's something that's worth bodybuilding. You're worth bodybuilding. Yeah.
Thank you. I feel like I have a lot to give back, and I want to teach.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Yeah. Well, perfect. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure, Guy. I mean, the pleasure was all mine, and I look forward to following you and what you're doing in the future.
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed the hour. I enjoyed it so much, it went by real quick. I enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Guy. We'll be in touch, and I'll see you soon at the Atlantic States.
Well, yes, I hope so. I hope I see you soon.
Yeah, I got my client Juan and my nephew is going to be in it. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. And it was nice meeting you there, young fella. All right.
Thank you, Guy. It was definitely a pleasure. And for those that might have missed, we had a Monday edition a few days ago with 3 great people from the UK. And next Wednesday, we have Dwayne McDaniel, who owns Diamond Gym, correct?
Yes. Good friend of mine.
And as always, folks, if there's anybody you want to see, reach out to Vinny and myself. And thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great night.
You too, guys. Thank you very much. See you. God bless.
Right,
thank you, Ken.
Thank
you.
you.
Good night, guys.